App ports is one of the most interesting, I find, because that is where, I don't know how they do it, but they can move things. They can relocate things. Maybe you're missing your keys, and you know you left your keys on the hook.
Oh God, I wish. Did you hear that? I did. Did you guys hear that?
You're looking and you find them in the kitchen on the table.
Oh,
that happened to my brother.
No, stay.
And he said, I know those keys weren't there. We looked there, at a lot, and they weren't on that table. What is that, honey? So, yeah, the app ports are very interesting. One little girl I knew, her dad used to give her pennies. And so everywhere she went, she was finding pennies suddenly after he crossed over.
I hear a lot of people will find coins on the ground. I mean, more, and that's a big sign that a relative is visiting, is coins for some reason. I think they should start leaving like $500 bills, if they're going to leave something. But yeah, I hear money's a big one.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind the money.
Yeah.
Yes. A sense of smell. People have reported smelling perfumes of a loved one that crossed over, or maybe even like they had a painting job and they would come home and they smelled like paint. I don't know how they're doing it, but they can reproduce telephone calls. I don't know if you ladies have heard of this or not.
Yes, yes.
Oh my God. I haven't had that happen. I have had my phone ring from my house phone calling my cell phone when there was no one around. And I believe that was my dad. My husband believes it was a glitch. But people have actually received telephone calls from the other side. And, I was saying in my book that usually they're so shocked they don't have a response. But they would hear the voice of their loved ones calling. Who was it? Oh gosh, Thomas Edison. I don't know if you've heard the story about Thomas Edison trying to create a telephone to the other side.
Oh yes, I've heard. Yeah, thank you.
Well,
yeah.
I wish he had succeeded in that.
I know. I've heard a lot of people or cases where they suddenly the person who was deceased, now that we're in cell phone age, their numbers will come up. It'll ring and there'll be that number, but there won't be anybody on the other side, but the number will show up on the phone.
Right, and you know what? People find these sort of things scary, and I fault Hollywood for that.
Yeah, definitely.
My sister got a phone call from her first husband. He got killed.
Oh.
He was in Sonoma.
Were they still married?
No.
Oh.
No. He was getting out of his car. He was going into a restaurant, and he was getting out on his side, and there was this guy, this old man coming by. Bobby got out of the car, and this old man hit him. He ran him down, and Bobby, I guess, flew up in the air, and he hit the pavement, and he died instantly.
Wow.
And so my sister got a phone call from him after he died, because she still loved Bobby, and they were very close, high school sweethearts. And Bobby called her, and actually she wasn't home, and there was a message. It was flashing on her answering machine, and so she wanted to hear what the message. So she picks the phone up and listens to the message, and she said it was Bobby, and it was like in a tunnel, like underwater, and it echoed like that. And he says, "Linda, this is Bobby. I'm okay." And she freaked. She
passed out?
She freaked, and you know what she did? What? She hit the delete button.
Oh no! Oh,
I could kill her for doing that.
Oh
my God! Can you imagine if I had that evidence? Can you imagine?
It's a hoax, maybe. Is that why she deleted it?
My sister, she got scared to death. And she freaked, and she just hit the delete button without even thinking. And now she's sorry she did that. But can you imagine if we had that?
Yeah.
Wow. What evidence?
Sad story, though. What a sad story.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a sad story.
So let this be a lesson. If we get a telephone call,
don't delete
it.
Call Norene.
There are far too many people trying to prove life after death. We need that recording.
Yeah.
God, wouldn't that be great? Boy, I sure would love to talk to a spirit. I remember one night you were with me.
Yeah.
You were with me. We went on an investigation in Sonoma at this rundown. Remember that building in Sonoma with Leslie? We went with Leslie. We did a live. We did a live show.
Yeah.
And so
burned out building.
We got in contact on the K2. We were in contact with this old guy.
Yeah.
The son had inherited the vineyards that were close by.
Oh my God.
And the father, I guess, was curious because you were there. The father was curious as to what we were doing.
Oh my God.
And so I had the K2. And there was no electrical around. The building had no electrical in it. There was nothing around. We didn't have our cell phones or anything. And so we started talking to this guy. And he kept answering us. I asked him about spaghetti, and he remembered spaghetti, and he liked it, and wine. And so the gist of our conversation was he was there watching over his son to make sure that the grapes were okay and his harvest would be fine. But the minute I asked him, do you remember this? The minute I asked him, can you please tell me, what is it like on the other side? What is death? He stopped responding to me.
That's right.
He stopped responding to me. And I asked you, I said, Dee, maybe we're not supposed to know. Maybe that's why he wouldn't answer me.
Right. Very well could be.
Or maybe he doesn't know. Maybe he didn't understand the question because
he understood all your questions. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he then know that one?
Yeah.
Or why didn't he say, well, I don't know? But he said nothing.
No,
that was it.
Yeah, he stopped talking to us.
So that's a big statement there, I think.
Yeah.
So mystery.
Today's modern day accounts of near-death experiences, people have crossed over talk about going to school. They talk about socializing. They talk about seeing buildings. There's one city.
You discovered this in your research?
Yes.
Really?
Well, in the near-death experience accounts of so many people.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I've never seen in my out-of-body experience a Crystal City, but there's a city that has been called Crystal City, City of Light, City of jewels. Apparently, it gleams. And it's beautiful. And one person entered it, and I can't remember everybody's name, and I do have them in the book. But sometimes the stories run together. And the person had crossed over, and he said that someone came to him and told him where, directed him to what hall to go to. And because there apparently are halls there. There's a place that you can go and look up records of past lives. Several people have talked about that. Several people have talked about an amphitheater being suspended and going for a concert and going for a lecture to this amphitheater. More than one person. So it's a very, we do have some information about what goes on over there, but it is limited. Certainly not all a mystery because people are coming back and reporting an awful lot about it.
Right.
In the modern age, when they've been clinically dead, they come back and they can tell us. I think that the answers are out there, and that's one of the reasons that I do this research. I don't like to be in the dark. I want to know as much as I can. And I really don't understand why other people don't either.
What was that?
Do you hear something else?
Yeah, we just heard a sound coming from your side. It sounded like it came from you, on your side.
Like a click, like a loud metal click.
Well, maybe it was something I did when I was moving.
Maybe. It's funny because we're having, I don't know if Norene told you, but her house is pretty active ghost-wise. And so we're sitting here tonight and we're hearing lots of not bangs, but
sounds.
Doors closing and sounds, like big movement happening. So she actually walked to go make sure nobody came through the door and nobody's home.
You didn't lock the front door.
Well, I thought I did. So I said, go check. So I sent her out. So anyway, we're hearing, we'll a lot of times get EVPs while we do the show. We'll get bangs and things like that. But this is kind of out towards the living room. So
Do you think perhaps the reason you're getting these is because they know what you're talking about and they're trying to get your attention? I mean,
Oh, they
they're
always
trying
are.
to come through.
They always are, and they wanna interact, and you know, it's just always been the way her house has been. And so since we've been doing the show since October, they do put in their 2 cents worth
Yeah,
on
yeah.
every show and every
Yeah.
guest, you know. So
Yeah.
it's fun.
No, okay, so there could be people ghosts or people that crossed over, but is it possible that I believe that we are existing in a lower dimension, obviously,
Yeah.
that, you know, and the higher dimensions, they can see in, but we can't see up. And I wonder if that might be some of it too sometimes.
It could be. But you know what? I always figure, okay, I know you're not the only one that has ever said what you just said, but how do they know? How do people know that for a fact? And I also heard that we are aliens. We are actually aliens. You don't think we're an alien?
I'm not an alien.
What are you?
I'm not an alien. I'll tell you straight out.
I heard that we're aliens
Some
on the
are.
lower level.
Some are.
Aliens and some aren't.
Some aren't.
Well, how did you luck out not be an alien?
Because I didn't come from there.
Oh.
I came from another area.
So, I mean, I don't know how people know this, you know?
You have memories, you have guides, you listen to them, they tell you.
I never
things.
heard a damn
But
guide.
I'm not, you're cooking, you're talking, you're never
You've
listening.
never heard your guy?
No, that's another thing I can't
She
figure out.
doesn't listen.
I don't know my guides. I don't hear them.
You have them.
Yeah.
You
Well,
have
that's
them.
what
She
everybody
does.
says.
Everybody
Yeah.
tells her that. She doesn't listen, she just does her thing and doesn't listen.
I'd like somebody to prove it to me that I got a guide. Hey, guide, come on, talk to me, because
It's faith, honey. It
It's-
isn't. It isn't
it's
proof.
fake?
It's faith. Faith, not fake. Faith. It's all faith.
I can hear my guide if I stop and I'm quiet and I listen. And I'm very busy. Like so many people, I've got 2 kids and they keep me, going. But when I'm quiet, I get messages, and I'm trying to learn sometimes to separate the messages, because sometimes it's hard. You can think that you thought, but it could be them communicating with you telepathically. So I've learned to sort it out most of the time. But sometimes I think the thoughts cross over. I don't know if Donna will agree, and I don't know if every guide communicates differently. But I can give you some examples, Norene, and maybe you can, take some of them and say, okay, well, maybe that was my guide at some point. With this book, the Encyclopedia of the Unseen World, for example, I pitched this book about 4 times, and I got no response. And I was in my office one night and working on it, and I got a clear message. Name it All Things Spiritual. And I knew it wasn't me because it was quiet, and I could tell. You can tell, and maybe Donna will, concur. But you can tell when it's your guide, and
Yes.
very, very clear.
Yes.
And I said, well, I don't like that title.
I love it.
I went next door. My husband's office at the time was next door in the room, and I said, my guide is telling me that I should call it, All Things Spiritual. And I don't like that title because it's not All Things Spiritual. And he says, well, you need to listen to your guide because, you need to get a contract. So I pitched it as All Things Spiritual, and even though the title didn't take, I got 5 hits the next day.
Wow.
And it got published. Now, the publisher obviously changed the title, but yeah, it got their attention. And there was another time, one of my favorite stories to tell people when I'm trying to convince them that they have guides, is I was talking when my son was a toddler. I was talking to a friend in my kitchen with her son and my son playing in the other room, and we could hear them, and my friend was, going how people go on with the story, and I'm listening, and I'm getting, check the door, check the door, check the door. And I'm trying to ignore it because, my friend is talking intently. Finally, I said, you know what, Kathy, I have to go check the door. And I went to check the door, and her son was out. The door was open, and he was out down the street. And just as fast. I mean, we could have sworn that they were there, but my son, I guess, was still playing with his toys, and we could hear it, but we didn't know, her son had gone out. things like that. Oh, my daughter, we were on a camping trip once, and I was talking, the kids were down a ways playing, and I was getting Shireen, that's my daughter's name, and I was like, I've got to go find Shireen, and I jumped up and just started running, and when I got there, she was hurt, and her brother was trying to carry her back, and she was fainting in the process. And so I know that was my guide, and I tell my husband, we all have them, but we have to learn to listen. Sometimes they can come in, interesting ways. I had an auntie call today, and I would bet my guide nudged her because I've been struggling with something, and she came and she talked about it, and I felt so much better. And I hardly ever talk to her. Maybe once a year, if that, do I hear from my aunt.
So you think your guides contacted her to contact you so you'd feel better?
I do. Now, see, did my guide contact her guide? Because the conversation we had, she's got experience in more than my mother's, my mother's sister, and she called me. I was like, you're like my angel, today. You really helped me, and it was very interesting. Right on cue. So anyway.
So do you think is it the angels or is it your guides?
No, I said angel.
No, I was going to ask you a question. So do you think it's the angels or the guides that help you from doing something stupid? Like crossing a pipe that's 500
What?
500 feet down and you're crossing a pipe.
Did you do that?
I almost did. I was, let me tell you a story.
This will be great.
I was in the 7th grade. And we lived out in Westlake, out in the hills, and not too far from there was a dairy farm that it wasn't in use anymore, but the stables were still there. And we used to, we were terrible. My sister and I used to go all over. We'd have our bikes, man, we explored all over the place. And so they had these stables in these hills. So we would go down there and we would check everything out, looking for anything, old stuff, even ghosts then.
Yeah, of course.
And then you had to cross over this bridge. And there was like a little town, because I guess that's where the workers used to work. There was all these like cabins, but they were a little upgrade from cabins. And oh my God, I think we saw a ghost that day. Nice. Because we were walking, and then all of a sudden I looked at this one cabin, and I know nobody lived in those anymore. They were vacant, and there was a friggin' man looking right back at me. Ooh. Now that scared the hell out of me. He was in the window, and I looked up, and this guy was looking at us, and that scared me. So we ran out. So then we went back up on the hill, and they had this pipe. Oh God, I think the pipe, because I was able to scoot out on it. I think the pipe was only about this wide, and it went way across to the other side of the hills. And oh God, it had to have been, oh my God, I don't know, at least 100 feet long. Yeah. And it crossed over. But down was this ravine, and I swear to God, it had to have been at least 500 feet. Well, I get out on the pipe, and I'm scooting out on that pipe, and I'm out about 10 feet. And I'm looking down, and I'm looking across, and I'm thinking, should I do this? But if I get on the other side, what's going to happen? How am I going to get back? I'm going to have to cross over this pipe. And I did. I sat there for a while because I wanted to do it. Yeah. I really wanted to go across, scoot across this pipe. But something told me, no, you better not do it. So
there you go.
I scooted back and I got off. So
finally, your guides got through.
Was that a guide or
yeah.
It was?
Yes. Yay! Back then you listened. What happened? What happened?
He or she has been with you all along. You can have more than one guide at certain points in your life.
Oh, groups. Yeah.
But there's one that's with you all the time.
Yeah.
So just listen carefully. That's why you have the show. Don't you think it was you got a nudging from the unseen world to put this show on to help people?
I don't think it's helping people.
I do.
Why not?
It's making people open up to a new way of thinking. It's going beyond the box and out into borders.
Yeah, that's
Get
a
people
help,
to
isn't
think,
it? Is it
think
not?
new ways.
It's educating people about things. For example, this subject of life after death. I think it helps people.
I say, viewers, now are you listening? Because we are going to quiz you after the show.
What was the pipe and how far did she go out?
What else do you want to talk about, Constance? Do you want to talk about We Are Not Alone? Did you want to go into that subject?
We can. I actually am working on a book on ETs, and I've had people kind of, mixed reactions to that subject. They kind of giggle about, or they look puzzled, because I think that this is another subject that, for me, it's just not, mainstream conversation. I mean, I'm a mom with 2 kids in school, and, usually the topic of conversation is, PTA or field trips. And I don't really meet a lot of like-minded people. But I tell you, there's a lot going on out there, and it's not funny. And I told my husband, if any one of the stories that I've come across are true, it's very serious, and I believe that they are true. We are not alone. I believe that we aren't. We have never been alone. I believe that the word extraterrestrial means, of course, someone or something that did not originate here. It originated, out there in another place, another world, but not of Earth. So angels are ETs. Our spirit guides are ETs. We are ETs because we came into these bodies. But when you use the word ET now, people think of, aliens and those pictures of aliens of the grays that we see all the time. There are different forms and aspects to ETs. There are those that have been visited years ago. I do buy into the ancient alien theory. I sort of happened upon that on my own without ever watching the television show many years ago. I concluded from my religious studies, I studied lots of religion and the scriptures, that something happened back then involving people from another world, and that I started putting these pieces together. And, coming up today, I do believe we were visited then. I believe that if you read some of those scriptures, I think that it was possible that there was a tampering with a physical being back then that, was helped to change, humankind. But that gets really deep. It gets very scientific, and we don't have time for that now. But today, moving forward, through the ages, there have been reports of people from elsewhere coming to visit humans on Earth. In medieval times, we see pictures of drawings of what we would call a UFO with a person inside. In ancient time, all the way back to ancient Egypt, we see hieroglyphics talking about people coming from, coming down to the Earth. We see drawings of what looks like people in space suits from somewhere else, to today, where I've had people contact me and say, I saw this. One lady I know from my daughter's school, mother who I've met, and sister got lost here in San Diego one night, and they saw a vehicle, and it was being exited by several beings, they're telling me. They won't come to talk to me, and these ladies are not hosters or anything. They're very, very nice, serious, credible people. They're nervous to be interviewed by a researcher writer. I'm still working on that. And to my receiving emails from someone I haven't seen in about 25 years saying to me, and this guy is, he's an art director for a major network. And, I went to high school with him, and he said, I want you to tell me what this is. I was at my girlfriend's, and I went at 2 in the morning. I went to the car, and there's this thing up over the trees over my car, and it scared him so bad that he went running back to the house, and he's banging on the door so loudly that neighbors are coming out into the street, and they're looking up at this thing.
Wow.
And he ran to call.
Did he have a cell phone? Too bad he couldn't have taken a picture.
Yeah, this was several years ago. So I don't know what the status was with his cell phone. I don't know if he even had his
just hovering over them?
Right over a tree, which was right near his car. And he said it was huge and it was lit up. And he said when he got his wits about him, after about 10 minutes, he called and reported, and they said, "Oh, it's a weather balloon."
Oh,
and he
God.
said, "But Connie, it wasn't." And I mean, this guy has.
Hey, do you think that maybe they abducted him and he doesn't remember it?
No, I think that he ran out to the car and it was there, and he ran back, and he was shocked. But I don't think he was abducted. No, I don't. Because the way he told it, I mean, the girlfriend would have known that there was a time period that he was missing, because she eventually opened the door. So no, I don't feel like it was an abduction experience, but there's something going on. My friend here in San Diego, who said, "Oh, Constance, we see UFOs, they're all over the place, just flying around up there." I personally have not gone out to.
No, but you did hear those sounds.
She heard.
Yes, she heard them.
Wow.
Yeah, the sounds. You would think that I would not be so dense. Sometimes I just don't always get it. Norene's guest the other night, Jeffrey, I'm forgetting his last name, was mentioning sounds in the interview of being heard around the world.
Right.
And one of the places was San Diego. Now, I had last year about 3 nights where I remember waking up in the middle of the night to this noise and just listening to it thinking, what in the heck is that? And I was trying to place it in my mind, and I couldn't, because there's no building going on. There's nothing but residences. It wasn't an airplane. An airplane comes and it goes and it's gone. A helicopter, my husband said maybe it was a helicopter circling. I'm like, no, a helicopter. They circle, they go, and they can come back and circle and go. But this was sort of continue. It would make the sound, pause, and then go again. And it went for a long time, and I could not, for the life of me, place it. And it wasn't until I heard Jeffrey say there are sounds going on that I went, oh, a light bulb went off, and I said, oh, maybe it was that. That would fit it, because nothing else, no other scenario that I've ever seen fit this noise.
Well, did you see War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise? Did it sound like that?
I don't remember the sound in that movie. I heard you all say that, and I have to watch the movie again, so I don't remember it. It did sound very, very similar to the noise that Jeffrey played. Since that time, I have done some research on it, and I have listened to other people's recordings, and I've heard it in those recordings too.
Now, did you go outside? Did you go outside when this was happening? You didn't.
No, I was sleeping.
Oh.
And it was, in the middle of the night, I was sleepy, and I thought I was missing something. I thought, okay, why can't I place this? And I just thought, okay, well, I was just too tired. But I told my husband after listening to Jeffrey, I said, you know what, I'm going to get in the car next time and go out and see if I can track it. Because I'm pretty sure.
Gee, it's too bad you didn't record it.
Well, it just didn't occur to me. It
No,
never
you just sit there.
That it was something paranormal.
Yeah.
But now I know, and if I hear it again, I will. But I think that we're not alone, and I have a story to tell you.
Go ahead.
That I haven't shared with anyone. A couple of stories. Speaking of my guide. Once I was getting a message, Gene Roddenberry. I'm like, what? What about Gene Roddenberry? And sometimes, he will do this, and I'm like, what? So I knew I had to do some research, because in the past, I've gotten, and I'll tell you one of them. I've gotten some information from my guide, and it really panned out. So I just went looking to find information on Gene Roddenberry. What could be a connection? Because at this time, I was getting information from my guides about people being from elsewhere. After I thought I had learned it all, I learned about the angels. I learned that there can be people who are still on the earth doing hauntings. I learned these things step by step. And here is something else. They're telling me that there are people from, other worlds. And, in my visions, I'm seeing a light. And this light, I have to tell you, ladies, I could close my eyes and see this light. It was so warm and wonderful that I would just want to close my eyes and go there. I don't know where it was coming from. So here's my guide saying, other worlds, Gene Roddenberry.
Now, what is Gene Roddenberry? Had you heard that name before?
Well, he's the creator of Star Trek. Interesting.
Oh.
And I bet that most people don't know this. I searched and searched, couldn't come up with anything I didn't know about him until I got to one book. I'm sorry, I'm losing the title. I can't remember. Oh, The Only Planet of Choice talks about him sitting in on channeling sessions with a woman who was well known to channel ETs. And I think that he got the idea for those wonderful, sci-fi shows, Star Trek, from her. Because in her channeling, she talked about a group of people that were traveling the galaxy and that were, trying to enlighten, civilizations and keeping an eye out and acting as protectors. I think that he got that idea from her.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I bet people don't know that he was sitting in on these channeling sessions of ETs before, he started that kind of work.
Wow.
So, there's another story for you. I'll get back to the,
okay.
The ETs.
Convince me.
Yeah. Well, I was, I was on Facebook, and I was contacted by a high school friend, a very old high school friend that I hadn't talked to in, over 30 years or something, and I friended this person and had a conversation, and after that, I'm getting delete him.
Oh yeah.
And not only that, the feeling with it was heavy, like a dark cloud. And I'm really busy, like I said, a lot of the time. And I'm here now. It's a week that I'm hearing this, and I'm not paying a lot of attention. And I said, okay, I'll get to it. And then it was so strong. I was like, what? What is it? I go online, Norene, I go online, and my guide is saying, I said, okay, I'll do some digging and see what is the problem. So I'm putting his name in. I'm going through all of this information, trying to find this person, where they live. I knew the location. Found him on a wanted poster.
Oh my gosh.
And he was asking for your friendship on Facebook?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh,
I love that.
Yes, grand theft larceny. Yes.
Did you report him?
No, they got him. It was the poster was past the date.
Oh, funny.
But it was an earlier date, not that much earlier. But they had, he had, when I continued on, he had been arrested, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if he was contacting me from jail or not.
Oh, funny. They have Facebook in jail. Behind Pentel.
Yeah, and blocked them. Yeah. So, people change over the years.
They do.
He was a really lovely person in high school. So yes, there's another example, Norene. My vision that I had when I was 14 cost me one of the most mind-boggling experiences in my life, which helped to set me on this path of ETs and is their life on other worlds and other dimensions. I really believe there are, and I think that we are doing ourselves a great injustice by not finding out more information on the sightings out there and the channelings out there and the crop circles out there and all of it. I think there should be an investigations all over the world going on before we find ourselves, in a situation that we don't know what to do with experiences from people from another world who may come in here. My vision that I had, once I started feeling this presence of this light that I mentioned, and my guide was talking about this, and I was like, you must be kidding me. You're trying to tell me that there are other, places and people existing. Not that I didn't know it, but I didn't expect it to get this information. So I said there must be other people out there, like me, who's getting this information. So I went looking, and the first thing I came up with was Scott Mandelaker. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He wrote a book called From Elsewhere, and there is a whole group of people out there who believe they are from a different place, and that they have come to Earth for a mission, or to help or enlighten Earth. And he wrote a whole book about these people. One of the ladies in the book, when I was reading her story, she said that she saw a swirling cloud, and when the cloud opened, there stood a man. And I thought, oh, well, that sounds like my experience. And when she, mentioned that, I looked it up, and she had, a name of the person, and I thought, wow, I've heard that name before. And in my metaphysical travels, I've come across a lot of information and names. I said, I know that name. And so I went online trying to find the name and the person, and then I thought, what are you doing? There's no picture of the person. If this person is not of this world, but he's apparently he was channeling information, there's no picture. But then I got the thought, maybe he channeled a picture. Now, did that come from me, or did that come from my guide? I don't know at that point, but I started bringing in channeled picture and the name of this entity or enlightened being, and sure enough, a picture popped up. And I swear to you, that picture looked very much like the person I saw in my vision, because I still remember that vision like yesterday. In the picture, there was a swirling cloud in front of the picture, and he had a high collar, although you can only see here, and he's got on like a helmet. Apparently he's a being that came into Earth's vicinity during the time of the first atomic bomb. And the story is that he came in to prevent humanity from blowing themselves up. And the story is that, they believe that Earth is too valuable and too much life here for us to do that. And so I noticed people that I found the picture, and they said, oh, this is a very famous picture of this entity, and also it's channeled. He channeled the picture through, this artist, and gave the details of how he looked. And that's, so is it the same person? Certainly looks like it. I can't say for sure, of course, but, it was something that really I found, startling in my life. So, yeah, I think there's something going on, and I think that people come into this world with a mission to, help this planet to grow. And I don't think that ETs are here to take over the world or to war with the world, but I do think there are enlightened beings about, to help. Now, I've heard some dark stories. I don't know much about those people.
You need to really, the thing is though, is that with the ETs, you need to, if you're going to do the light, you need to also do the dark. Because with the light, there is the dark. So, we're being surrounded by both sides, and they're jockeying for position. So it's also, what's the other side doing? Why are the Greys coming and taking people over and over again? Why are the reptilians coming and trying to take over? So, you have the enlightened ones who are here to help, but you also have the ones who are not here to help.
I think that that's true. I just like to stay away from the dark.
But the scary part is, and most people don't want to look at the dark. My wiring and why I'm here is to bring to light the dark. Because if you don't look at the dark, that's when they sneak up on you, and that's when they take over. You've got to look at it, you've got to see what it's doing, because then it can't do anything.
But Donna, do you believe that, because I believe that we're being protected after that experience and reading the channelings from that person. There was a woman, her name was Tuella. Her real name was Thelma, and apparently Tuella walked into, I don't know if you know about walk-ins, but she walked in, she was channeling this being, and it was all light information, and how they had come in here to help and to protect
Right.
humanity. And if there ever is a disaster of that type where the dark is coming in to destroy us, that they're ready and prepared to, lift us off. That was the information. And I have to tell you, it sounds very biblical. It was quite amazing.
Right. And I just want you to know that a lot of the ETs or the aliens, starfolk, that are not here for the good of humanity, they come out here like they are. So I have a lot of friends who channel, and they do not know who they're channeling. They think they're channeling light beings, and they're not. I can see it, and I have other friends who can see it. So the light has learned to use the right words, to use the right numbers, to say the right things, and they're not here for the benefit of humanity. But they look like they are. They have all the knowledge, but they're not. You have to be very aware and listen to your guides really loudly, because they're going to tell you the truth about what's going on in the world, especially with the ETs.
If we can even get, I agree, and if we can even get people, to broach the subject sometimes.
Right.
People are just so busy, and they're just trying to make a living.
Right.
And you bring the subject up, and they're just like, you must be kidding. What do you
Right.
mean?
And that's kind of, how the other side, and I don't want to keep using the word dark, but I'm going to use that because it's an easy concept. The dark side, that's how they get in, that's how they sneak up. They keep everybody busy, they keep them off guard, they keep them separate. And so when you start speaking about this, as you write your book and you start bringing these to light and getting people to think about it, then people will come together, but they don't want them to come together. They want everybody to be sheep and be separate. Don't look at anything, be busy. So we have technology out the wazoo that keeps us channeled into computers, into cell phones, into things, and we're not connecting again. We're staying separate.
Yeah. Probably most of the world, when you look at the crisis going on all the time in the Middle East,
right,
and practically the whole world,
mm-hmm.
You have to wonder if there's something else, someone else behind all of this dissension to keep people in the dark and to keep them spiritually dead.
Right.
There is a dark side.
And since you are doing wonderful books, that, it is horrible and it's hard to look at, but if you don't, it's kind of a disservice to humanity if you don't look at both sides and kind of put it out there for them to even think about. Because they are too busy, they are too much, I don't want to look at that, I just want to look at something nice. And that's why we're so easy prey right now, and why things are jockeying and positions, and people are being affected by energy that's coming in that's not good. So just putting it out there for you.
I believe that another thing is that we have people coming in. We've heard the term star seeds,
mm-hmm.
and we've heard the term light workers. I do believe that there are star seeds and light workers. This particular being that I spoke of earlier is said to have a lot of people down here trying to educate people and enlighten humanity and shed light. And you don't have to be a guru to be doing it. You can be, a mom. You can be a PTA member. You
Right.
can be a grocery store clerk. You don't have to be a politician. In fact, I would say most of the politicians are not anyway. And they don't have always a memory. I mean, I feel like I've gone through an awakening several times.
Yeah.
It's been, stepping stones and, stairs that I've climbed to get to this point where I can even talk publicly about this. But I believe they're here. And a lot of them awaken to the possibility that they're not from here, that they're from other places,
Right.
and they're here for a mission and a job. They're out there. You ladies, light workers, perhaps, and
Yeah.
I think so. To wake up the masses.
Yes.
That's the job. That's the job. And I was told, when I started getting this information, I don't have readings done. I feel like, I can hear my guide, and but when my guide started this, relaying this information, I did go to a lady and to have a reading, and she's known to be a walk-in, and she says, she can speak to guides. I'm like, I don't usually do this, but I really would like some clarity here. She said, you're supposed to write a book a book is coming to tell people, about these issues. And then she went on to she had a lot of galactic history that, you just know she didn't make up. So, yeah.
Can you explain what a walk-in, for the viewers that are watching, what is a walk-in?
A walk-in is a soul exchange, where you are contracted before you come in with someone else to sort of share a body, not together. One person's in the body, and they live the life to a point. For perhaps the other soul doesn't want to go through childhood or wants to come through in to do a certain work at a certain point. So the person, for example, may be contracted to be here for 20 years, and then there's a soul exchange, and he leaves and the other person comes in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I misunderstood. I thought it was they both were in at the same time, but I guess I didn't know. I thought it was that both souls were in, or both beings were in the body, the human and then the being.
No, and
okay.
Yeah. This lady says that did the reading says that she's a walk-in.
Uh-huh.
There are a few others out there. The lady who did the channeling for that, being that I spoke of earlier was a walk-in. I asked if I was a walk-in, and they said, no, you crawled in.
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
Okay. So that's where I am in my research. I'm trying to, learn about more the ETs that are here. I understand that there are some neutral ones. I mean, I'm calling them neutral. For example, they seem to come in. I've heard reports of they're like taking soil samples, or they're, watching and not really doing anything. I don't know if they're not making contact. They disappear if they're seen. And I'm like, okay, well, they don't seem very enlightened. They just seem here to be annoying. Or just take the information back to wherever they're going and be done, not part of the light or the dark, just here for their own purposes. It's kind of interesting.
Constance, do you want to tell everybody what your website is and the name of the books?
Yes, I have a website, and I also have written 2 other books, working on my 4th. The books are the Encyclopedia of Angels, the Encyclopedia of God, and the Encyclopedia of the Unseen World. They can be found on Amazon or any of your online bookstores, or you can go to my website, which is www.starseedmission.com. Also, I have a Facebook page, and you can find me under Constance Briggs. And if you have questions, I'm always happy to talk to people. I love to talk to people about this stuff. Or you can reach me through my website, where I have a form and a contact page. I have a blog. That's all on my website. My blog is starseedmission.com/blog. But yeah, please feel free to contact me with questions. I'm happy to talk to people and share notes if you like. So feel free to pick up the book if you like to.
Wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for being our guest tonight. I really enjoyed the interview with you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
Donna, I'll make sure I focus on the dark more.
Awesome. Make my job easier.
All right, so Constance, say goodbye to the viewers.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight, and we'll
Thank
see you next Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you. Take good care, ladies.
Good night.